and thank you for coming on the show. You're the second person who has agreed to have these discussions. Many other people have outright refused to have these discussions. So thank you for coming on tonight.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
All right, so where would you like to start?
Well, it's your show, Justin. I think if we were to continue the Twitter conversation that we were having, you and I were having a disagreement over what the shit is, and I think that was the point that we were trying to discuss. And really, what I was trying to get across to you during the Twitter conversation is that you can be a good activist, Justin, but there's so much shit around you, and what you do is you deny it, and you push it off, and you pretend it isn't there, instead of dealing with the fact that you're mired in it. And that when you say, oh, there's no shit, oh, there's no real problem with harassment in this movement, you're actually making it much worse for yourself. And that's the point that I was trying to make. That you have potential to be a good activist, and I've seen that, but you also have the potential to take a great big nosedive and to get mired in rape threat and rape joke retweets and little jabs that really bring you down and make you seem quite childish to the rest of us, to those who are looking and those who are watching. And as a result, we don't pay attention to you when you're talking seriously. We don't pay attention. I mean, I certainly don't pay attention to you when you're talking seriously because you're so mired in the shit that surrounds you.
So can you please give some examples of the hatred and threats of violence that you're talking about here?
I don't need to give examples. You poke and prod, and then you pretend that it's not your fault when people don't like you for it. When a preponderance, a substantial portion of the female activists in this movement feel oppressed, feel harassed, it's our job to fix it. It's our job to help them fix it. It's our job to step up and say, no, stop that. And when we say things, and when we see tweets like, oh, you're too ugly to be raped, or, hey, you know what, you really should go fuck a knife. You know what? It's our responsibility to stand up at that shit and not say, hey, I'm not responsible for the actions of those other people. That's bullshit. That's avoiding the point. There's a lot of people, I shouldn't say a lot, several people in this movement that I don't like. But I'm not going to help people to drive them from the movement. I'm not going to recommend that they leave the movement. I'm not going to laugh under my breath when somebody threatens them or somebody allegedly comes off or somebody comes off with a mild comment that is clearly an under-the-breath threat. We don't fuck with each other. It does mean we don't sit in our rooms clearly plotting to try and fuck with these people. We don't tweet at our allies repeatedly to try and fuck with them.
You said that we don't need to give examples of the threats or the rape jokes, but what I often see is...
No, I said I don't need to give examples. Justin, I didn't say we don't need examples. I said I don't need to give examples.
Okay,
because
so you
that's
say
my
I don't
point.
need to give examples. But what I see is everything conflated, that mere criticism and mere disagreement is conflated as hatred, misogyny, rape threats, death threats, and I don't think this is the case. There is certainly some shit out there, as you said earlier. There's nastiness online.
Let's talk about the shit and let's talk about the nastiness. That's what I want to talk about.
I asked you to give examples.
I want to talk about the shit. I want to talk about the nastiness.
Okay, so what are the examples?
You're too ugly to be raped. Go fuck a knife.
Okay.
You need to leave the movement.
I've seen many of those comments from P.Z. Meyer's blog. Have you denounced those?
Okay,
so
this is about you, and I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, well, P.Z. Meyer said this, and Rebecca said that, and Greta said this. My point is, this shit, and you can't be a great activist until you totally dismiss the shit, until you stop saying, well, give me an example of the shit. No. You have to recognize, Justin, that you are part of the shit, that you are the one who posted Amy's address online. You are the one who's part of the Slymepit. You are the one who just recently tweeted out a nice picture of all the women at Women in Secularism with I Heart Justin photoshopped over them. That wasn't a response to criticism. That was you being really, really childish.
Standard for me to denounce things, then I think you have to do the same thing. You need to separate yourself from Free Thought Blogs and PZ Myers. For PZ Myers and many of his commenters talk things like fuck them into the ground. There, but I'm not holding you responsible for that, Dave, because you're not PZ Myers. You're not the commenters there. I can't be the police and the sheriff of the internet denouncing every single little thing that happens. I shouldn't be seen as being in support. There are all sorts of people on the internet who say things, and there have been people who said nasty things about me. I haven't seen you denouncing what they've said. The women in secularism picture, I thought, was a very lighthearted joke about these people who hate me, who say these nasty things about me, who say I should be disqualified from the community, disqualified from activism, who try to get me banned from attending the conference in Washington, D.C., and who are relentlessly saying all these nasty, horrible things about me, that I can't be trusted about women, that women can't be safe in my presence, that someone can't bring their daughter to a conference. This is detestable, Dave. But I'm not holding you to the standard and saying that you need to denounce that. But you're holding me to a standard saying that I need to denounce things that people who are loosely associated with me happen to say online.
Because they're loosely associated with you, and we need to, and more than loosely associated. Okay, we're not talking about Free Thought Blogs, and we're not talking about me. We're talking about you being associated with these people. I'm not saying you should do anything that I don't do every fucking day. Okay? What I'm saying is that when you see shit, you've got to denounce it, especially when it's shit from your associates. And believe me, please, if anybody from any of my list of friends anywhere posts anything that would be termed harassment, or, hey, you should go fuck a knife, man, that's not my friend anymore. Okay, that's not my friend.
You need
if somebody says, "Hey, you know what?
Myers.
I'm gonna create a fake anonymous Twitter account so that I can just send you nasty grams over and over and over again," because I know that most activists are volunteers and can leave at will. I didn't say you were making anybody leave the movement. I said you were making it less tasteful for volunteers to stay.
Are you going to denounce PZ Myers and Rebecca Watson because they are leading to people leaving the movement and feeling alienated? Are you going to denounce them?
Now, if they say, "Hey, you know what? That Justin Vacula just retweeted a rape joke. I think he's an asshole for doing it," that's completely valid criticism. But if you say, "Hey, you know what? Ophelia Benson, I don't have anything to say to you right now, but you're an ugly cunt and you should leave the movement," that's bullshit. That's bullshit. And your whole concept that the picture that you tweeted out was a lighthearted joke, that's bullshit too. Because you knew it would piss them off, you knew it would get them to write shit about it, and you knew that it had nothing to do with any actions or any repercussions that they did. You did it for attention. You did it to be you did it to be an asshole.
I guess
like
we're
that.
disagreeing on what is lighthearted then. I guess we're disagreeing
Yes,
on that.
we
You're
are. I don't want you to agree with me and then have a little Vacula must denounce hashtag so that you can laugh at what I'm saying behind my back. That's bullshit.
No, it's not really behind your back.
What the movement needs.
But
I'm sorry?
It wasn't behind your back. It's public. It was on Twitter.
Because you don't accept the fact that you made this yourself. You don't accept the fact that you are or were part of the Slymepit. Okay? Let me give you an example.
What is so bad about
Let me give you an example. Let me just give you an example here. Let's say David Duke, the former Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan, is running for election. And he comes out and says something that you agree with. Are you going to vote for him? You are?
No, probably not. No.
I'm not. No, I'm not.
I'm not
he's
voting
a former
for any
Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan. Now, if he comes out and says, "Hey, you know what? I'm not a member of the Ku Klux Klan anymore. Yeah, I still hang out with those guys. Yeah, I still go to their meetings. And sometimes when they burn that cross on that guy's lawn, I snicker, and then we all go out and have coffee together. But I'm not part of the Ku Klux Klan anymore." You'd call bullshit. You'd call bullshit.
I would.
And then when he comes to you and say, hey, why do I need to denounce the Ku Klux Klan? I'm not even part of their group anymore. Why don't you denounce everything that the Ku Klux Klan says? That's a bullshit double standard.
Yeah. Well, I find this interesting because I don't see the Slymepit committing acts of violence, burning crosses, racial intimidation.
Dude,
I don't see any.
You see the analogy I'm making, and my analogy is crystal clear, and you see it. And this is what I'm talking about. This defensive, no, this doesn't exist bullshit is getting in your way as an activist.
I think my criticisms of these individuals, they haven't been rape threats. They haven't been death threats. They haven't been, you're too ugly to be raped. These are what other people are doing. This isn't what I'm doing.
But they're your associates. They're your people. So, you did this yourself. You have to realize you put yourself in this place by associating with some people who generate a lot of shit, by laughing at the shit, and yeah, by posting that address. And yeah, I'm going to talk about posting that address because I don't think you realize how serious of an offense that was. Dude, it's an attack. Okay? And if anybody did that to me and my family, it would be permanent. If anybody did that to me and my family, it would be a permanent disassociation, and if we met, it would be unpleasant, permanently. You did a bad thing, Justin.
The address is public, so if it's the fact that it's public,
Justin,
and I guess she's
own it.
I don't really know what this is.
Justin,
own what?
Own it. You put her address in front of people for a very specific reason. You did it for a reason. You did it to harass her. You don't fucking do that. And you don't think that you're going to walk away from that and say, all right, well, now I'm clean because I said I'm sorry.
But I'm sure after this conversation that the relentless hatred of me is going to continue from many of your allies, actually, your loose allies whom I think you should denounce if I'm to denounce my allies. People
I guarantee you dump this shit, but the people that you refer to as my allies will leave you the fuck alone because they don't want anything to do with you. You're going to take the high road, and you're going to dump the shit. Internalize it, okay? Internalize it. The shit is not for you. The shit is not for this movement. It's not. And if they fuck up, if they come out, if Ophelia Benson comes out and says, hey, you know what, that Vacula, even though he's trying to be nice, that Vacula is still an asshole.
Well,
fuck Vacula, he's an asshole, he's an asshole, he's an asshole, he's an asshole, he's an asshole. And she writes this huge big diatribe about what an asshole you are. You still dump the shit.
You talked about that we cannot perceive the world as women perceive the world, and we have to take the concerns of women seriously. So I have a question for you. If there were women in the secular community who said that you were harassing people in the movement, should we take their concerns seriously and have you removed from conferences?
I am not going to call her a cunt and tell her that she needs to leave the movement. I'm going to just avoid that person. My point is that you're in an ethical pit. You do good things, and then you do shit that makes people stop listening to you. It's all about the shit. It's not about feminism. It's not about anti-feminism. It's not A+ or counter A+. It's about the shit, the childish shit, the shit that's beneath all of us. But you've got to dump the shit.
I think you have a problem, Dave, and need to dump the shit, too, in your association with Free Thought Blogs, with your association with Rebecca Watson. You need to dump them and immediately distance yourself from them. Stop inviting them to your conferences. Stop inviting them to participate as speakers.
No. Not at all. If they come out and they say, Justin Vacula is an asshole because he did this, I don't care about that. That's honest criticism. I'm talking about the shit. The shit that's much more poignant when a man does it to a woman than from when a woman does it to a man, and we all know it. Sexually charged comments against women have no place in this movement. We have disagreements, and we don't always get along, but we work together anyways because we're all fucking allies. There are a few people in this movement I actively dislike, but I'm not going to fuck with them. I'm not going to try and hurt them. I'm not going to try and drum them out of the movement because that's bad for the movement and it's bad for the country.
Well, then you need to really go after Ed Brayton and P.Z. Myers for saying that Thunderfoot needs to be drummed out of the movement. I need to be disqualified from activism. I need to be disqualified from the community. That I should be made to resign from organizations. These people really aren't my allies, Dave, when they're engaging in this kind of behavior.
We have to get you out of this ethical pit where it's somehow excusable to fuck with our allies in a sexually demeaning manner. This is what I'm saying. The good news. There is good news here, man. I want you to hear the good news, too.
Are you going to hand me a Bible with your good news? You are free, of course, to go. So thank you for coming on the show tonight.
Hey, Justin, thanks for having me on the show, and I'll be happy to talk with you offline more if you'd like.